The purple rings of Helios Station cast an eternal twilight across the bustling spaceport, where ships of countless designs docked and departed like mechanical fireflies. In her small apartment overlooking the commercial district, Kyra Nix stood before the hollow projection of her daughter's last moments, watching it loop for the 1000th time. Security feed anomaly detected at time index 2347, the AI assistant noted clinically. Kyra's enhanced eyes, a relic from her time in deep space exploration, caught the subtle glitch she'd missed in previous viewings. The shadow that passed behind her daughter Nova didn't match the official report of a random Scarax raid gone wrong. Her fingers, trembling slightly, manipulated the holographic controls. The movement was too precise, too calculated. These weren't the chaotic actions of space pirates. Someone had wanted Nova dead, specifically Nova, and had gone to great lengths to make it look like collateral damage. Kyra switched off the projection, the sudden darkness reflecting her silver-flecked eyes in the window. Below, aliens of various species mingled with humans in the perpetual commerce of the station. Among them, somewhere, were the answers she needed. The private security firm's office occupied a corner of level 7, far enough from the main thoroughfares to avoid casual traffic but close enough to respond quickly to their clients' needs. The door chime echoed in the sparse reception area as Kyra entered, her boots silent on the metal flooring. Marcus Blackwood looked up from his desk, his dark eyes immediately assessing her with military precision. A faint scar ran from his left temple to jaw, partially hidden by close-cropped gray hair that belied his relative youth. His reputation preceded him, former special operations, decorated veteran of the Centauri conflict, now running what many considered the most effective security operation on Helios. "How can Blackwood Security assist you?" His voice was surprisingly gentle, contrasting with his imposing presence. Kyra placed a data crystal on his desk. "I need someone who can help me find the truth, Mr. Blackwood. Someone who won't be bought off or scared away." She activated the crystal, projecting the same footage she'd been studying. "My daughter Nova was murdered 3 months ago. The official report says it was a Scarax raid, but I've found inconsistencies." Marcus studied the footage, his expression hardening as he noticed the same anomalies Kyra had discovered. "The Scarax are many things, but subtle isn't one of them." He looked up at her. "You realize that pursuing this could be dangerous? Whoever went to this much trouble to hide their tracks won't appreciate someone digging. My daughter was everything to me, Mr. Blackwood. She was brilliant, passionate about xenobiology. She was working on something she couldn't tell me about." Kyra's voice remained steady, but her hands clenched at her sides. "I don't care about the danger. I need to know why." Marcus stood, walking to the window that overlooked the crowded lower levels of the station. "I lost someone too, once. Chased answers for years." He turned back to her. "Found them eventually, but the truth wasn't what I expected. Are you prepared for that possibility?" "I'm prepared for anything except living with uncertainty." He nodded slowly, coming to a decision. "My fee is steep, and I work thoroughly. No half measures. Money isn't an issue." Kyra produced another crystal, this one containing her financial credentials. "I've liquidated everything I own. Finding the truth is all that matters now." Marcus reviewed her credentials, then set up a secure channel on his comm unit. "We start immediately. First step is accessing the station's deep surveillance archives. I have contacts in station security who owe me favors." He paused, studying her with those penetrating eyes. "There's something else you should know. 3 other seemingly random deaths in the past year share similar inconsistencies with your daughter's case. Too similar to be coincidence." Kyra felt her pulse quicken. "You've been investigating this already? Let's just say your daughter's case wasn't the first to catch my attention. But you're the first person to notice the discrepancies in the official reports." He pulled up additional files on his holodisplay. All 4 victims were involved in advanced xenobiology research. All 4 deaths were blamed on random alien violence. 4 researchers, 4 cover-ups, Kyra whispered. What were they working on? That's what we're going to find out. Marcus began typing rapidly on his console. But we need to move fast. Now that you've officially hired me, we probably have about 48 hours before whoever's behind this realizes we're looking into it. How can you be so sure? Because, Marcus said grimly, the last person who hired me to investigate one of these cases disappeared 12 hours after signing the contract. I've been waiting for someone else to notice the pattern. Someone with the skills to help me crack this thing wide open. The purple light from outside cast long shadows across the office as they began their work, neither of them aware that they had already been noticed, or that their investigation would uncover something far more terrifying than either of them imagined. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of encrypted data streams and covert meetings. Kyra hadn't slept, surviving on synthetic caffeine as she and Marcus pieced together fragments of a puzzle that grew more disturbing by the hour. Look at this, Marcus said, projecting a complex molecular diagram. They'd converted his office into a command center, hollow screens covering every wall. All 4 researchers were studying xenobiological adaptation. Your daughter's last project focused on human genetic elasticity, our species' unusual ability to survive in diverse environments. Kyra studied the diagram, her enhanced eyes picking out patterns in the complex molecular chains. Nova mentioned something about a breakthrough, just before. She trailed off, then forced herself to continue. She said humanity's adaptability wasn't random. That someone had engineered it into our DNA millions of years ago. A quiet alert from Marcus's security system interrupted them. Someone's accessing the station's archives, searching for records of our inquiries. His fingers flew across the haptic interface. They're good, routing through quantum nodes to hide their trace. Can you track them? Better. A slight smile crossed his face. I can feed them false data while we follow their backdoor. New data streams appeared on the screens. They're operating from, that's impossible. What is it? The signal's coming from the void sector. Marcus pulled up a map of known space. It's a region of dead systems, supposedly uninhabitable. No authorized stations, no colonies. He highlighted a section of empty space. But there's definitely something out there. A soft chime announced a visitor. Marcus checked the security feed, then quickly wiped their displays. Right on schedule. Come in, Dr. Reeves. A tall, elegant woman entered, her white hair contrasting sharply with dark skin. Her eyes widened slightly at seeing Kyra. I didn't realize you had company, Marcus. Dr. Esther Reeves, meet Kyra Nix. She's helping me with the investigation you've been following from a distance. The scientist's composure cracked slightly. How did you dash? Know you've been monitoring Nova's case? The same way I know you worked with all 4 victims. Marcus's voice remained gentle but firm. It's time for full disclosure, Doctor. What were they really working on? Esther sank into a chair, suddenly looking much older. We called it Project Genesis. The truth about humanity's origins, our impossible adaptability. She pulled out a secure data core. What your daughter discovered, it changes everything we thought we knew about our species. Before she could continue, the station's lights flickered. Emergency sirens began blaring. Marcus was instantly in motion, checking security feeds. Multiple hull breaches on levels 3 through 8. This is no accident. They're here, Esther whispered, face pale. The Verati. They're supposed to be extinct, we thought they were extinct. Who are the Verati? Kyra demanded. The ones who engineered humanity, thousands of generations ago. We were their greatest experiment, but something went wrong. Esther pressed the data core into Kyra's hands. Your daughter found proof. They've been guiding our development ever since, culling lines they deemed unsuccessful. The station shuddered again. Marcus activated his tactical systems, weapon ports opening in his office walls. We need to move. My ship's docked on level 6. The data core contains coordinates, Esther said quickly. A Varadi archive hidden in the void sector. Everything you need to know is there, including why they killed Nova. She discovered their ongoing experiments on human colonies. Emergency barriers slammed down as artificial gravity fluctuated. Through the chaos, Kyra heard something else, a high-pitched resonance that made her enhanced eyes blur. Marcus, something's coming through the maintenance shafts. He tossed her a pulse rifle. Doctor, stay between us. Kyra, watch our 6. These passages connect to my ship's dock, but we're not the only ones who know that. They moved through emergency-lit corridors, the station's screaming alarms covering their movements. The resonance grew stronger, and Kyra's enhanced vision caught glimpses of something impossible, shadows that moved against the light, shapes that seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. The Varadi evolved beyond physical form centuries ago, Esther explained as they ran. They exist in quantum states, manifesting only when they choose to interact with our plane of existence. That's how they've stayed hidden, watching us, guiding our evolution. Marcus held up his hand, signaling them to stop. Ahead, the corridor rippled like heat waves over desert sand. They're trying to cut us off from the ship. Why? Kyra's finger tightened on the trigger. Why go to these lengths? We're just 3 people. Because, Esther said softly, your daughter's research proved that humanity has begun to evolve beyond their control. Our adaptability has reached a point where we could become like them. And some of us already have. The rippling air solidified into a form that defied description, geometric patterns that hurt the eyes, colors that shouldn't exist. A voice spoke directly into their minds, ancient and terrible. The experiment must be contained, it said. The variables controlled. You understand this, Dr. Reeves. You've understood all along. Esther stepped forward, her form beginning to shimmer. I understood that we needed to be free. Her outline blurred, becoming something else entirely. That's why I helped Nova. Why I helped all of them. Marcus and Kyra backed away as reality itself seemed to bend around the confrontation. The ship, he whispered. When I give the signal, run. The last thing Kyra saw before chaos erupted was Esther Reeves transforming into pure energy, engaging the Varadi entity in a battle that transcended physical space. Then Marcus's signal came, and they ran through twisting corridors toward his ship and what they hoped would be answers in the void sector. Behind them, Helio Station began to tear itself apart. Marcus's ship, the Artemis, cut through the darkness of the void sector, its enhanced stealth systems operating at maximum capacity. In the ship's small command center, Kyra studied the data core Dr. Reeves had given them, while Marcus monitored the sensors for any sign of pursuit. These research files, Kyra said, her enhanced eyes rapidly processing the information. Nova wasn't just studying human adaptation. She found evidence of active Varadi manipulation in frontier colonies. Children born with unprecedented genetic variations. Marcus adjusted their course, threading between gravitational anomalies. They're using us as test subjects. Have been for millennia. His hands tightened on the controls. That's how I lost my team in the Centauri conflict. We weren't fighting insurgents, we were fighting something else. Something that could change its shape, adapt to our tactics instantly. Varadi combat forms, Kyra read from the files. They've been seeding conflicts, testing our military responses. Nova discovered that they're particularly interested in humans who demonstrate extreme adaptability under stress. The ship's sensors pinged softly. Marcus brought up a tactical display. We're being followed. Multiple quantum signatures, similar to what we saw on Helios. He engaged additional countermeasures. The coordinates Reeves gave us, how much further? We're close. There's a structure out here, hidden in a pocket of warped spacetime. Kyra projected a navigational overlay. The archive she mentioned. But these readings. Marcus, it's massive. Like a Dyson sphere, but folded in on itself. I've seen something like this before. His voice was quiet, haunted. During the conflict. We found ruins, structures that didn't obey normal physics. Command ordered them destroyed, said they were insurgent weapons platforms. He laughed bitterly. We were so blind. The Artemis shuddered as something brushed against their shields. Reality rippled around them, space itself seeming to twist. Kyra's enhanced vision caught glimpses of impossible geometries just beyond normal space. They're trying to trap us in a quantum bubble, Marcus growled, executing a series of evasive maneuvers. Like they did to Helios. We need to dash. An alarm blared. New signatures appeared on their sensors, but these were different. Solid. Physical. Unknown vessels emerging from quantum space, the ship's AI reported. Configuration matches archived Varadi war forms from the Centauri conflict. They're not trying to stop us, Kyra realized, studying the tactical display. They're herding us toward the archive. Why would they dash? Because we're carrying exactly what they want. Marcus's face was grim. Your enhanced eyes, my combat experience, the data core, were the perfect test subjects. Everything that's happened, from Nova's death to Helios, it's all been orchestrated. Kyra's mind raced. Nova's research suggested they're losing control of human evolution. Some of us are developing abilities they never intended. Like Esther. So they're forcing the issue. Creating controlled scenarios to push our adaptation. Marcus swore as another quantum wave buffeted the ship. That's why they let us find the evidence, let us escape. They're not trying to stop their secret from getting out. They're trying to perfect it. Kyra stared at the tactical display, watching the Varadi ships herd them closer to the archive. All those colonies Nova investigated, they were laboratories. And now we're heading straight for their main research facility. Marcus input new commands into the ship's systems. We have two choices. Try to run, probably die in quantum space. Or. A dangerous smile crossed his face. We give them exactly what they want. Show them just how adaptable humans can be. You want to spring their trap? Better. He brought up Nova's research files. Your daughter found something in their own data they didn't expect. A flaw in their quantum engineering. They think they're testing us, but she already figured out how to beat them at their own game. The ship's sensors registered multiple direct hits. Shields began to fail as the Varadi vessels drove them inexorably toward the hidden archive. Kyra accessed more of Nova's files, her enhanced eyes picking out patterns in the complex quantum equations. Here. She highlighted a section. She discovered that their quantum state isn't as stable as they think. Their evolution into energy beings, it's incomplete. That's why they need physical forms for combat. Why they're so obsessed with human adaptation. They're stuck, Marcus said, understanding dawning. Trapped between physical and quantum states. And they're afraid we'll succeed where they failed. He began rerouting power through the ship's systems. Your daughter found their weakness. Now we use it. The massive archive structure became visible ahead of them, reality bending around its impossible architecture. As the Varadi ships pressed closer, Marcus and Kyra prepared to implement Nova's discovery. They were done being test subjects. It was time to show their creators just how far humanity had come. The Varadi archive loomed before them, its quantum-shifted architecture defying normal space. As the Artemis was drawn into a massive docking chamber, Kyra and Marcus made final adjustments to their plan, based on Nova's research. The quantum resonance of their structure, Kyra said, calibrating her enhanced vision to the strange frequencies surrounding them. It's similar to what we saw on Helios, but much stronger. The whole facility exists partially out of phase with normal spacetime. Marcus checked his weapons, though both knew conventional arms would be useless against beings of pure energy. Nova's data suggests they can only maintain physical form for short periods. That's why they need proxies for extended operations. He paused, meeting her eyes. Like Dr. Reeves. You think she was working for them all along? I think nothing here is what it seems. The ship shuddered as docking clamps engaged. Your daughter found something they desperately wanted to keep hidden. Something about human potential that threatens their control. The ship sensors detected multiple quantum signatures converging on their position. Through the viewports, reality rippled as Varadi manifestations began to take shape. But these were different from what they'd seen before, more solid, more defined. Almost human. Welcome, adaptable ones. The voice resonated directly in their minds, accompanied by a figure stepping through the hull of their ship as if it were mist. It wore the appearance of an elderly human male, though its movements were too precise, too calculated. We have waited long for specimens of your particular potential. More figures appeared, all wearing human forms, all moving with that same unnatural precision. Marcus and Kyra stood back to back, though they knew physical positioning meant little here. Why maintain these forms? Kyra demanded. We know what you really are. Do you? The first figure smiled, the expression not quite reaching its eyes. Your daughter believed she understood our nature. She was, partially correct. We are not simply energy beings who abandon physical form. We are what happens when evolution reaches its apex, when consciousness transcends the barriers between matter and energy. You're trapped, Marcus said. Caught between states. That's why you've been experimenting on humans, trying to find a way to complete your transformation. Trapped? The figure laughed, the sound sending shivers through reality itself. We are ascended. Perfect. We guide lesser species toward enlightenment, as we were once guided ourselves. Kyra's enhanced eyes caught fluctuations in their quantum signatures. You're lying. Nova found proof in your own data. Your evolution is unstable. Each generation of your species becomes less capable of maintaining physical form. You're not ascending, you're dissolving. The human facades flickered, showing glimpses of their true forms, geometric patterns of pure energy, riddled with instabilities. Your daughter was clever, another figure said, its voice harsh. She recognized the pattern. But she failed to understand its significance. We are not dissolving, child of Earth. We are becoming. Becoming what? Marcus's hand found Kyra's, squeezing it in silent signal. What all life becomes, in the end. Pure information. Pure thought. Free from the constraints of physical existence. The first figure gestured, and the walls of the archive became transparent, revealing vast chambers filled with stasis pods. Each contained a human body, connected to complex machinery. But the transition requires refinement. Templates. Guidelines. Kyra's breath caught as she recognized one of the bodies. Nova? She started forward, but Marcus held her back. A copy, the figure corrected. We preserve the most promising specimens, studying their genetic codes, their neural patterns. Your daughter's discovery was not about our weakness, but about humanity's potential. You are capable of making the transition we seek, of achieving true quantum existence without the instabilities that plague us. That's why you arranged all this, Marcus said, understanding dawning. The raids, the deaths, leading us here. You wanted us to find out the truth. The time of secrecy is ending. Humanity is ready to begin the next phase of guided evolution. The figure extended its hand. Join us. Help us perfect the process. Your combined adaptations, enhanced perception, combat-forged resilience, make you ideal candidates. But Kyra was no longer listening. Her enhanced vision had detected something in Nova's stasis pod, a pattern in her neural activity. A message, hidden in quantum fluctuations that only enhanced eyes could perceive. They can't control it, Nova's message read. The quantum state. It cascades. Chain reaction. Show them what true adaptation means. Kyra squeezed Marcus's hand again, transmitting the message through a pattern of pressure points they'd established earlier. His slight nod told her he understood. You're right about one thing, Kyra said, stepping forward. Humanity is ready for the next phase of evolution. She activated the quantum resonance program they'd prepared, based on Nova's research. But we'll do it our way. The archive's walls began to vibrate as reality itself responded to their countermeasure. The Varati's human facades disappeared as they realized what was happening, but it was too late. The chain reaction had begun. What have you done? Their voices merged into a chorus of quantum discord. Marcus smiled grimly. Exactly what you made us capable of doing. We're adapting. Around them, the archive began to transform, and with it, the future of both species. The quantum cascade spread through the archive like wildfire in zero gravity, transforming energy into matter and back again in impossible patterns. The Varati's carefully maintained quantum state began to unravel, their forms flickering between physical and energy manifestations with increasing frequency. You cannot comprehend what you're destroying. Their collective voice shook the very fabric of spacetime. Eons of guided evolution, the perfect balance between states. Perfect? Kyra's enhanced eyes tracked the cascade's progress, making minute adjustments to Nova's program. You achieved a quantum state, but you couldn't maintain it. Each generation became more unstable, so you turned to other species, trying to find the key to true transcendence. Marcus worked at the archive systems, releasing the stasis pod's locks. You didn't guide humanity's evolution to help us ascend. You were looking for a way to stabilize yourselves. The archive structure began to shift, rooms and corridors rearranging themselves as the quantum instability grew. Throughout the facility, preserved specimens were awakening, humans from countless experiments, each carrying pieces of the genetic puzzle the Varati had tried to solve. Your understanding is limited, the Varati consciousness rippled around them. We have guided countless species toward ascension. Only humanity showed the potential for true quantum stability. Your adaptability, your resilience were never yours to control, Kyra interrupted. She reached the stasis pod containing Nova's body, her enhanced vision confirming what she'd hoped, neural activity, growing stronger. You thought you were testing us, pushing us to evolve according to your design. But humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to adapt to your experiments. It's our ability to adapt in ways you never expected, Marcus finished. He had reached the archive's central core, where streams of pure quantum data flowed like rivers of light. Nova didn't just find your weakness, she found humanity's true potential. The quantum cascade reached a critical point. Throughout the archive, the awakening humans began to change, their bodies responding to the altered quantum state in ways the Varati had never predicted. But instead of dissolving into pure energy or remaining purely physical, they achieved something new, a perfect synthesis of both states. Nova's eyes opened, meeting her mother's gaze. The quantum resonance, she said, her voice weak but growing stronger. It's not about choosing between states. It's about embracing both simultaneously. Impossible, the Varati consciousness flickered. The quantum state cannot be maintained without Without balance, Nova finished, stepping out of the pod. Her form shifted between physical and energy states smoothly, naturally. You tried to force evolution in one direction, toward pure energy. But true transcendence comes from acceptance of both forms, working in harmony. The archive shuddered as more humans awakened, each finding their own balance between states. The Varati's carefully maintained quantum field began to stabilize, but not in the way they had intended. Instead of forcing them toward pure energy, it was drawing them back toward a middle ground. You were so focused on ascending beyond physical form, Kyra said, watching as the Varati manifestations began to solidify, finding their own equilibrium, that you forgot why we have bodies in the first place. Experience. Connection. Growth through limitation. Marcus monitored the quantum readings. The cascade is stabilizing. The whole archive is reaching a new state of balance. Around them, humans and Varati alike were transforming, finding their own unique harmony between physical and quantum existence. The age of separation was ending, replaced by something entirely new. Nova turned to her mother, her form now stable in its ability to shift between states at will. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you what I discovered. I knew they were watching. But I also knew that if anyone could understand the message I left behind, it would be you. Kyra reached out, touching her daughter's face, solid one moment, energy the next, but unmistakably real. I came here looking for revenge. Instead, I found something much more important. Understanding, Marcus said softly. The one thing the Varati feared most. Not that humanity would fail to evolve, but that we'd evolve beyond their control, showing them what they'd lost in their quest for perfection. The archive, once a secret laboratory, was transforming into something else, a bridge between states of being, a place where physical and quantum existence could coexist and thrive. The Varati's experiments had not failed, they had simply succeeded in an unexpected way. What happens now? Kyra asked, looking at the transformed beings around them, human and Varati alike, each finding their own balance between states. Nova smiled, her form shimmering with possibility. Now we learn from each other. The Varati sought to guide our evolution, but in the end, we showed them a new path. Not up toward pure energy, not down toward pure matter, but forward, together. Marcus joined them, his own form beginning to shift as the quantum resonance affected him too. Think the universe is ready for what we've become? The universe better be ready, Kyra said, watching as the archive's quantum field began to extend outward, carrying its message of transformation to the stars. Because this is just the beginning. Around them, matter and energy danced in new patterns, writing the first chapter of a new era in human evolution. Not an ending, but a transformation, one that would reshape the very nature of existence itself. And somewhere in the quantum streams that now flowed through the archive, the collective consciousness of the Varati began to learn what their countless experiments had failed to teach them, that true transcendence comes not from abandoning what you are, but from embracing all that you can become.